This is the Xperia 1 Mark 8, and I think generally when it comes to the design and performance in terms of the processing performance, Sony has never had any problems at all, like audio quality and all that kind of stuff. I think the issue I've always had with every Sony Xperia review that I've done on this channel is people always tell me, you're not using the camera right, you're not getting the camera right, that's why you're not getting the performance that you want to see. And I think when you're designing a phone, you have to make the camera accessible to the general users first before the pro users, you might actually know what they're doing. So I think this time they've actually got the balance right, which means out of the box, you can take fantastic photos on this thing before you start tweaking or trying to do any pro level tweaks to get some other kind of shots out of it, which is a really good thing. I'm actually happy with this device. That I'm just worried it might be too late for Sony. But anyway, let's talk about it. So in terms of the design, it comes in various colors, but here we have this black finishing, got natural textures as well, and it takes inspiration from precious stones. You got a new camera island design as well. They've changed that area, and this graphite black color just looks absolutely fantastic. The only qualms I have with it is this textured finishing also means it gets scratched very easily, like so. Although you can easily wipe some of it off, but if it gets too deep into the texture, you won't be able to get that off. So I got some over there, some at the bottom there. So I've just been chucking this in my pocket and using it as I would, like a general user would without a case. But you should get a case for it if that's a concern of yours. You got a flat front glass design, which looks absolutely fantastic. I prefer flat finishing. Got that curved edges as well, which makes it nice and easy to hold in hand. It's a lot more comfortable in my opinion. You got side fingerprint, which we've known with Sony Xperia already, works really well. Volume rockers there as well. And we still get the 3.5mm headphone jack. I believe they might still be the only smartphone company that's still doing this right now. This is IP65, IP68 rated, so no IPX9 rating here, which I don't think is useful anyway. How many times are you actually out there jet washing your phone or whatever it is? I don't know. And also tool-free SIM card tray is available as well, so you don't have to have any extra tool in the box or anything like that to get this going, which is a good thing. We also have a dedicated camera button as well, so your shutter button. It won't do anything you would do with your iPhone in terms of camera control or anything like that when sliding it, so that's something to bear in mind. It's not important. Again, it's absolutely fine in my opinion. You got micro SD card available as well. Again, like I said already, might be one of the only smartphones that still, or manufacturers that are still providing that right now, which is very, very useful. It's something I say because if I shoot on my drone, I take the micro SD card out straight away, plug it straight into here, and I can get the files there and then, ready to edit and just do what I need to do on the go. But otherwise, really good design. I really like the design. It's nice and slim profile. It's not heavy. It's just a nice weight in hand, which I really like. Only qualms I had is the fingerprint sensor. Sometimes it doesn't quite register when you press it, so you kind of have to press a bit harder to get it to register, and then it unlocks the phone and you're good to go. I feel sorry for left-handed people though, because they can't use their thumb to unlock it like we would on right-handed, so you can just press it like that and unlock it. You'd have to register one of your index finger or so, and then you're good to go. This is available for £1,399 for the 256GB of internal storage. You can also get a 1TB version in native gold color, and that is £1,849. So this is a very expensive flagship device in this day and age. Yeah, very pricey, but you are getting a lot for your phone in terms of that headphone jack, the micro SD card slots available, toolless SIM card tray. That kind of stuff is there, so which is something that might edge it over some of the other flagship on the market right now. For the display, you have a lot of things going on here as well. We have LTPO 1 to 120Hz refresh. Image processing is from the Bravia team, so you get really sharp colors. It's nice and bright as well. The blacks just looks really good. You got HDR available, and also you have creator mode in the settings. If you want something that just gives you the true color reproduction of whatever you're shooting, you can do that as well. This is 6.5-inch OLED display. It's 19.5 by 9, which is an interesting aspect ratio, but really good for watching movies. You do get the black bar as standard, but like YouTube video here, you can stretch it out on some platforms and get to the full screen situation going here. You got luminance sensor, which will adjust the color to environment. Again, that's something you don't really get on other platforms, sorry, other manufacturers. So it's really good. Great viewing angles as well. So it doesn't really matter if you're watching this in bright sunlight situation. Great viewing angle is good at all angles, which is really good. This is 2340 by 1080 when it comes to the resolution for those who cares about stuff like that. But generally, this is really good in terms of the display quality. If you delve deeper into the image quality settings, you got recommended, you got custom, which then allows you to go into standard mode. You got auto creator mode, and advanced color as well. So there's loads of different visual options that you can actually change and tweak to get the best color options available to you. But for general user, you'll find just go into recommended and you're good to go. The sound quality on this phone as well is really good. It's probably one of the best out there as well. And if you go into sound settings, there are options available to even tweak it further to get the best of the sound quality you want. So in playback quality settings, you have things like recommended, enhanced sound quality. You can even convert to spatial audio as well. You got custom settings, 360 reality audio is there as well. So they've taken some of the tech on their audio side of things, they've put it in here so you get really good sound quality. You got DSE Automate as well, which is really good. Dolby Sound's available. So again, like I said, one of the best sound qualities out there. And it doesn't stop there. Sound recording as well gets a bit of tweak. So if you go into recording quality, you can even reduce wind noise here as an option, which again helps with just getting the best audio quality in terms of when you're capturing your content. One thing you might also notice is some of the default Sony apps aren't on here, so you might have to go out and download those separately. Things like your sound recorder and stuff like that, they're not here by default, which is a bit of a shame. But you still get your standard camera app on there, so you can use that to record video, capture photos and all that kind of stuff. As for the camera, we have a 3-camera setup, and I like this new camera island design. I think it actually looks really good. They've updated the zoom lens on here. So we get 52 megapixel X-T 1/1.28 inch, which is actually 48 megapixel effectively at f2.0. We have 48 megapixel ultra wide at 1/1.56 and a tele lens, which is 48 megapixel at f2.8. This has digital cropping as well, and you can do 2.9x and 5.8x on here, which is really good. But far in between here and there, it's going to become digitalized, but we'll talk about that in terms of quality that you get out of this. On the camera interface itself, we have a new AI camera helper. So this thumbnail in the corner, as soon as you point it at an object. So if you're trying to take a picture here, let's see if that does it. There we go. So you get that AI camera option there that tells you what that will look like using AI. I don't know if I find it useful at all, but we'll talk more about that later on. But yeah, you can scroll across and see some of the options that it gives you in terms of what possible photos you can get using AI. And the thing with that though is the fact that because it's such a small thumbnail in the corner, it's not always showing you a representation of what the potential photos will be. So you still have to tap it and see the live preview of what you're about to take before you have to take your photos, if that makes sense. It would have been nice to find a way to maybe the whole screen itself is that AI option. So there's just a little button that says, I want to use AI suggestions or AI assist, and then you can swipe across on that screen to see the shots that you're potentially going to take using AI. One thing I do find so far though, in terms of AI assist, is some of the shots don't actually produce anything better than what the camera itself is actually capable of, which brings me to one of the qualms when it comes to photography on this. I would have loved for them to just ditch all the AI aspects completely, or keep that as just that AI camera work in terms of the menu on there. There's a little AI camera work option there. Just keep it as that and just keep it separately, and don't let that affect the actual camera work that you want to do on the natural stuff. So that would have been a better option in my opinion. But if that doesn't matter to you, you can always hide it anyway. But yeah, the AI assist stuff doesn't really make the photo any better for me in most of the situations. I say 9 out of 10 out of the situations, I find it just a bit useless. Elsewhere, you have multi-frame raw processing in terms of the stills. Auto framing is there as well for video, and you have longer distance when it comes to macro photography. Telemacro, you're talking at like 6 inch away from the subject, and you still get really good shots there. In terms of performance, this is running on Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, so everything works really smoothly on here. There's no issues at all when it comes to taking photos, loading apps and stuff from the background and whatnot. Everything just works as smoothly as you'd expect from Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. Elsewhere in the camera interface, if we look through that as well, so we've got Pro Video, so if you know what you're doing, you can set that accordingly. This is very similar to your Sony interface, and this actually works, camera interface aside, this actually works really well if you have Sony camera, so like your A7S III, FX3, etc. You can actually connect this to those devices and actually make this a bit of a pro smartphone in that sense. We've got Pro Photo available as well. Again, you can change things, including the megapixel count. You can change that there as well. It shows you how much memory you got left. And also bokeh is there as well, so you can do those nice blurry background shots. You got normal photo options there, and you can press settings there, which gives you option to change your aspect ratio. So you can go from 4:3, 3:2, 16:9, and 1:1. You've got timer options as well, and flash is there. If you want more option, you can go to menu, and it gives you a bunch of stuff like your face eye autofocus settings. You can do that there as well, focus settings and whatnot, zoom settings, all that is there for you. Then you got your video settings, which allows you to also select what frame rate you want to shoot. Got full HD, you got 4K. You can shoot 4K at, it says 120 there? Yeah, up to 4K 120, which isn't too bad at all. So you can get those nice slow-mo shots if you want to get some cool slow-mo shots. So yeah, you can see there. 4K, tap again, 60, tap again, it goes all the way to 120 frames. And then you got AI camera work, which I didn't really use this. I don't know what the purpose of this would actually be, to be honest. You got subject position there as well. It will lock them into the center to make sure that you don't lose the subjects, especially for video. It's not something that I've used or played with, to be honest. It's not really my bag. And then you got more, which allows you to select 48 megapixel mode, bokeh video as well, so that you get those cinematic video mode available to you as well. But that's pretty much it in terms of the settings there. You can move things around in terms of the menu. If you find that there's some stuff that you use more than the other, you can move them around so it's just within ease of reach when you need to use it. But that's pretty much it for the camera interface. So having said all that, how's the photography and video on it? I think it's come out really good. And like I said at the start, I think they finally caught up in a way that I like to use my phone without having to dip into pro mode to get some really good shots. So we're talking really good low light shots, daylight photos as well. They look really good. The colors are really nice. It looks so natural without oversaturating things or making things look over digitalized. Everything just looks really good. When you zoom as well, it looks really good. Whether it's the 2.9x or the 5.8x, it comes out really good. Videos are good, like I said already. Even low light shots came out really good and fantastic. The only time you might have problems in low light is when the subject's moving, which makes sense because it's a smartphone sensor at the end of the day. But it's still able to get some really good shots at nighttime. Whether it's video, whether it's photos, it just comes out really good. Ultra wide angle shots are great as well. Telephoto's great. I think just all around, I'm happy with the photos that are coming out of this for the first time in a long time without having to dig into pro settings. And I hope it's not too late for Sony in that sense, because I think a lot of people, if they get to use this, they will actually really enjoy the kind of shots you can get in here. You can even zoom in and it still comes out. I'll put it on the screen. It still comes out really well. And it's just a joy to use the camera, whether it's even portrait shots and front-facing camera, it comes out really good. So yeah. Overall, I think they've done a really good job with this phone. The pricing is a bit high, but apart from that though, you should definitely consider this time if you're looking to buy a new flagship Android smartphone. But that's it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.